Got it.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's Brandon Ayton and Matthew Orr from
It's me.
It's you. Ah! Well, this is kind of a little special session. We used to do these things called Wet Ink Wednesdays, and we are hoping to just give I don't know, a little bit of information about our current project, Heckin Good Doggos, and just have a conversation about some of the stuff that's going on in our industry and just some insight. Yeah. So I guess first and foremost, Matt, do you want to just give a brief introduction of who you are, what you do here at Wedding Games, etc.?
Sure. I mean, I'm the what am I? I'm the creative director, I think is my title here at Wedding
Official
Games.
title. And then some.
Which means that I am primarily concerned with the product itself and making a quality product. So and the way that has worked in my half of the partnership here is that it's mostly the words and pictures, right? So like I do like the commissioning of art and I talk to the artist and say, no, more red, but or whatever needs to be done. Like
more red, no blue.
Yeah. You drew this as a day scene, but it needs to be a night scene. That is to fit the story that was already written. It's the creative direction that I do. I also have like some ideas about like, let's do, I have ideas for layout. I work with the layout artists. I have also editing powers, like not editing, like copy editing, but like, we get a draft in of a manuscript and it's like this, okay, so everything you've written is good, but only 60% of this is on topic and the other 40% can go to the side and then we can focus. I think after reading these 10 pages that these 3 paragraphs are what you really want to say. So just make all of it those 3 paragraphs. Like
I remember working with you on Wild Skies, our first product, and we'd go through and redline drafts and stuff, and you're like, hey, what did you mean to say here? And then I would tell you and you're like, then write that.
That's why
just write that.
That's how you become a creative director. So.
Yeah. No, I think
so what do you do, Brandon, at Wedding Games?
Oh man. Well, I'm the business director, dealing with getting our products in distribution, working on contracts, helping to recruit new freelancers, etc. But also, just like Matt said, we both wear a lot of hats. Sure. So if I'm like, if I get really excited about like 8 different ideas, and
he does,
and I do. Matt, you're really good about saying, okay, that's cool. We're going to pump the brakes on that. And we're going to work on this one, that kind of stuff. And, every once in a while, I'll, throw my opinion in when it comes to, art and stuff. And again, sure. I know what I like, and as a consumer of games, I know what I like. And I always like being stretched by our writers and our artists and everything. So, when our artists say, oh, here, I want to show you this. It's like, oh, I didn't even know I wanted that, but that's fantastic. That kind of stuff. So I don't know, but ultimately, from the Wedding Games business side, it's a lot of relationship management and making sure that our projects get fulfilled, making sure that they get from our publishers, from our printers, to our warehouses and out to the hands of all of our gamers, and helping us have a good convention presence as Wet Ink Games continues to expand and grow. And hey, conventions, they're a thing now.
I mean, yeah.
So I know I did a Q&A the other day with with the Random Worlds Discord group, and I I always love doing Q&A sessions. You know, because you get to hear from a lot of the people who are the consumers of your products, right? Um,
Sure.
it's another reason why I like going to conventions, and I like having a social media presence. But Heckin' Good Doggos is one of those that we've gotten a lot of comments and posts and questions about all kinds of stuff. And on the Random Worlds chat the other day, there were some questions that came up, and I think the first one that kind of took me back was like, why doggos?
I mean,
So I kind of wanted to like pose that
why
question
not?
to
Like
you, and
that's
right. Yeah, so why doggos, Matt?
so. I mean, there's several reasons I can think of that this project is the project we're doing now. Um, we've done a gritty Sky Pirates game. We've done a World War I horror game. We have co-produced a a, a game, Jiangxi, which Jiangxi Blood in the Banquet Hall with Game and a Curry, and that is also in the horror realm, and it's sort of like the psychic trauma of being an immigrant in a new culture, and especially one that doesn't like you, as the United States wasn't really happy with a lot of the Chinese immigrants coming in the 20s when the game is set, like manifesting all of that through the literalizing rather all of that in the form of Shang-Chi, the hopping vampires. And then we've also done partnership with Feral Indie Studios, Into the Weird and Wild, which is a the woods want to kill you source book for any sort of fantasy adventure sort of games. So what I'm saying is that all of our past games have kind of been in a certain direction, right? They're all in a neighborhood. They live next to each other, right? So Wedding Games doesn't want necessarily to just do the same trick over and over again. So Heckin' Good Doggos primarily is colorful. It is no death. It is you're being a cute dog, doing cute dog things. It is intended to be for all ages, rather than sort of the horror that we've done tends to be gruesome and not necessarily appropriate for children. So there's a lot of it's in a lot of ways it's an entirely new direction for Wedding Games,
Right.
and it's about growing as a company and diversifying our offerings to appeal to more gamers. We haven't done a game like this before, so here we are working on it.
I think,
And
I remember when the concept came about. It was at a Gen Con a few years ago, and my wife, your sister, said, uh, "You know what you guys should do? You guys should just do a game about dogs doing dog stuff."
I mean,
And
dogs
it was
doing
one of
dog
those things
stuff.
that was like, "That's a really good idea. We should do a game about dogs doing dog stuff." And so that's kind of where the little catchphrase for Heckin' Good Doggos came from, and we've stuck with that. It is dogs doing dog stuff, and of course, and it's a family friendly game, as you said, Matt. There's no death. We're not sitting there having dog fights or anything like that. It's not a thing that we want to do, and not something that we want to promote. But it's it's a family friendly game, and we have a bunch of other fun, weird, quirky things to throw in there. So like some of the other micro settings and stuff,
Oh,
like,
sure.
which it's just fun. And I remember
You want to
when
say one of the names of one of the micro settings? Because I know you're happy with all of them.
oh yeah, no, I love them. Like Heckin' Good Doggos, which is very much in the vein of Beast of Burden, which I have over here. I just got the newest one. I gotta finish that one. Um, Be, Beasts of Burden got
You
some
don't have
like
to name
fun.
them all. I just put one out there.
Yeah,
Heckin' Good Doggos.
Heckin'
It's
Good
great.
Doggos is great. I will say though, the one I'm most proud of is Ye Old Favorable Hounds. Oh, I love it. It just makes me laugh every time. Ye Old Favorable Hounds.
Right. Which is
But
the medieval. Is it high fantasy? Is it low fantasy? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're the dogs of the adventurers, or you're the dogs of
right.
the knight and the cleric in town or the priest in town, that kind of stuff. So it's just,
Right. I guess you can decide whether or not there are dragons
it's
in your
high
setting,
fantasy or
but
not, right?
yeah.
And it's
Uh,
just a lot of fun. It's a goofiness, and ultimately, I have three kids, and uh we play all kinds of games, and we actually, as a family, started playing, um recently we started playing a game by Ninth Level Games called The Excellence, which is just a whole lot of fun. It's all about, um it's all about the like princess, the magical princess RPG, you know. And so we've done that a little bit, and I've been really impressed with it, and I want to be able to have that kind of experience with my kids, with other games, and with our stuff. It's not something I can do. Our kids can't really play our games right now, so Heckin' Good Doggos is
right.
an
Right.
opportunity for them to do so. Anyway,
Right.
um, so like as you said, like the art's really colorful. It's really bright, vibrant. Um, the graphic design is the same way. So Mike Muma is the artist for the game. Matt Benici is the graphic designer. Both of them have gone above and beyond, absolutely above and beyond. I love all the stuff that they've done. The flavor that just like oozes out of the art. Um, and so I don't know. It's just it's gonna be a really cool product to have in the hand and flip through it, you know.
That is the goal. That is the
That's
goal.
that's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. So this is the third game that we've made using our +1 system, right?
It will be the
Some
third
people may
one.
not may not be familiar with it, but it's the system that we uh, made for Never Going Home, um, and we've used it for Tenebria, Remnant of
Right.
Rome, which is
Yeah,
a
I forgot to mention that one when I ran down our list.
oh, it's good.
oh, it's a
Um,
good game.
it's a good game. Tenebria, Remnant of Rome. We used that as well, and then Heckin' Good Doggos. Now, if you don't know about the +1 system, it uses standard six-sided dice and standard playing cards. You can use any six-sided die you want, and any playing cards you want. So you can raid your grandmother's game closet and you're good to go. You know, that's um, we wanted to make it super accessible for any gamers, or any people new to the hobby, but which only helps when you're introducing kids to the hobby as well. You know, they know what playing cards are, they know what dice are. You know, and so it's not
I mean,
very
if you're the kind of
complicated.
person, if you're the kind of person who's going to be introducing your kids to a role playing game, you've probably already introduced them to dice
They
and
probably
cards.
already have their own set of dice, right?
Right.
But one thing that makes the +1 system a little unique is that every single one of the games uses the cards in a different way. So in Never Going Home, the cards represent your humanity. They represent an exchange of your humanity for power throughout the game. In Tenebria, the cards represent your resources that you're bringing back to your city that you're rebuilding.
Mhm.
And in Heckin' Good Doggos, they represent how your dog, how your character approaches different challenges. You know, so
Right.
some you can approach with, your puppy dog eyes and your cuddles and your cuteness, and others you can, you can growl or gnash your teeth at, or something like that. So it's just a conflict resolution mechanic in Heckin' Good Doggos.
Right. The idea is that you will have your hand of cards, and those represent different through the different all the players together will have probably access to all the different ways to resolve a conflict. You can resolve through essentially, cute or I think we call it pause, which
Yep.
is the club, so that you're going to use some sort of physical feat, running,
Running,
jumping, that kind of
jumping,
thing.
whatever.
Diamond is the teeth and claws, or mostly teeth. I mean, dogs, I guess, technically have claws, but they don't really use them like claws.
Right.
But it's mostly teeth, like a biting. That's an aggressive attack. If you're going to play a bunch of diamonds on something, that means you bit it, like you attacked it. You
Right.
know, as opposed to trying to use your spades as spades is the loyalty or the friendship. So you're going to be engaging with actually trying to make friends, trying to solve the conflict through de-escalation, I guess, on a
Yeah.
dog level de-escalation. And so the idea being that, like, you have your hand of cards, and like you may want to try and solve the conflict in a certain way, but you're also dependent on your cards. So like maybe you aren't going to step forward this time because you only have a hand of diamonds, and let someone else solve this with their heart eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it, and unlike in Never Going Home and Tenebria, you know, sometimes cards can be pretty rare, pretty hard
Sure.
to come by. One of the things that we made that decision early on was to make in Heckin Good Doggos, you have your hand of 7 cards. If you spend cards, you draw cards. It's one of those things where you can you don't want to be playing with your 5-year-old and they say, I want to do this, and you go, you can't, sorry. And that's one of the things I love about, like I mentioned previously, the excellence is, you say, how do you want to approach this? And so, like, especially playing with kids, they always come up with really fun and unique ways to approach situations.
Right.
And you go, oh wow, like, that's extremely creative. So to do that, you're going to have to roll this, and in that game they all only have 1 die depending on what kind of character you are, but there's really no real way to fail. You just succeed in different ways,
Hmm.
and I enjoy that element a lot.
Right. I mean, that's pretty appropriate for an all ages type game,
Yeah,
or you called it family friendly, all ages, or kids game. I mean, I know we've played No Thank You Evil, which is another one in that
in that genre.
vein,
Yep.
where it's not done. It's not the big D&D. It's something
Yeah.
else.
Right. And I think ultimately it's about, we've talked about the importance of collective storytelling and making sure that all players at the table are having fun, which is one of the things that we really try to drive home with our games anyway. And so for Heckin' Good Doggos, I don't want this to be a kid's first gaming experience and they get really excited about making their dog and joining their pack, and then they can't do anything all game. I don't, that
Right.
just doesn't feel right to me as a designer, doesn't feel right to me as a parent. And if I was running a game at a convention with some kids and their parents, if that's how the situation was going, as a narrator, as a GM, I would change that on the fly. I want everyone there to have a good time. So yeah, we really hope the game that translates into this game. That's my hope.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I think we are. I think it's a golden age of RPGs, right? So
Oh,
like,
geez. Tell me about
there's
it.
so many of them. There's so many. Like, uh, you mean you've got your comic book shelf behind you in the camera, but I know it's on the shelf that's actually next to you. It's all RPGs. Like, it's just, there's so many good RPGs to have these days.
I actually get to
So,
play Alice is Missing on Friday.
hey,
I've been wanting to play this Spencer's game since I got it at Gen Con. Um
I mean, you were talking
and
about it in 2020, right? Like,
gosh,
wasn't it?
no, it was 2019. It was right. Yeah, it was 2019, I think.
I mean, they had the live stream in 2020. I think that
Yeah.
that's when you told me about it, but I don't know when it came out. Uh,
Anyway, it's real good, and I'm excited to play it for the first time. Like I've read it, I've watched people play it, and I'm like, I want to play it. and I get to play it on Friday. So
Awesome.
golden age of RPGs. Tell me about it.
I know. But what I'm saying is that there's room for, and there's room for things like the games that we've been talking about tonight. No Thank You Evil and Heckin Good Doggos and The Excellence, and what's the Questlings? Questlings is another
Questlings.
game that's
Yep.
out there.
Yep.
There's a lot of games in this area of the market because there are people that are, with kids that are coming up to an age where they can start learning these games, and there's a lot of
Right.
gamers. It's only natural that they that it's time to make some games that are family friendly as well as appealing to the adults. So.
Oh, absolutely. And I definitely think that, you know, Heckin Good Doggos fits into that space pretty well. And I want to say that, like, you know, when I've been asked about it before, like, hey, why, you know, isn't this the same thing as like Pugmire or Animal Adventures and stuff like that? And I'm like, it's
It's not
different,
like Pugmire.
right? Because I'm like, it's not, um, you know, there you don't. The main game is dogs doing dog stuff. You're not dogs doing heroic adventure stuff. It's like, no, you're going and you're finding out who knocked over the trash cans, like, that kind of stuff. You're doing dog stuff. And one thing that I really kind of got a good chuckle at was someone had commented on one of our Facebook posts about it, and they said, "Oh my gosh, this is Dog the RPG from the old Knights of the Dinner Table comic." And I mean, I've read Knights of the Dinner Table. I've read Jolly stuff since I was in high school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Dog the RPG, this is hilarious. And I'm like, man, yeah, I actually need to reach out to Jolly and be like, this is hilarious. But completely unintentional. But hey,
Sure.
yeah, Dog the RPG. They're like, it's becoming a thing. Yeah,
That's great. That's great.
yeah.
So we are gonna I think we got a little check, like spoiler or not spoiler alert, but like inside, we've got a little checklist we're going through here. I think we've done number 3,
Yeah.
but we skipped part of number 2 here, our question.
Oh yeah, we did.
We mentioned that this is our third Never Going Home, or our third, not our third Never Going Home game, our third +1 game.
Yeah.
And this is and you mentioned Matt getting involved as our graphic designer. And
Yep.
so we've had Matt do an official +1 system logo for the first time, despite this being the third game in the quote unquote series of games. This is actually going to have the logo. We're going to kind of present that as like, it's a thing that we're doing, is we're continuing to use this system of dice pool mechanics of D6s to get successes, to accomplish skills, plus something with cards. And that those two elements together make up what we're calling the +1 system. And we've actually got more people that have worked on manuscripts, like Stephen Wu, who did Tenebria.
Yep.
That was the first one that was the using that system, and then now this will be the second one, and sort of retroactively Tenebria will be part of this like +1 system line of games from Wedding Games. I mean, Never Going Home is kind of its own, it's big enough to be its own thing, and it's kind of its own even though it uses the system, it's kind of its own product line. But all of that to be said is that like Tenebria, the goal with Heckin Good Doggos is for this to be like, here it is, here's the game, everything we did for it is complete in this one volume, and and there it is, and now it's done. It's not intended, all of these games will be the same size. What is the size, Brandon? It's 9x6, right?
So
Or is it?
Tenebria is, it's 6x9, and this one is
Right.
6x9. as
Right.
well. You know, even though,
So again, a
yeah,
little smaller than Never Going Home if you have Never Going Home. But uh, I don't know what the proper term for that size is, but a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, everything in one volume. It's just a small little game that only is trying to do one thing. In the case of Tenebria, it's that very focused Roman Empire, post-apocalypse, rebuild your town. Uh, the empire has fallen, and you are rebuilding a single town, um, and collecting the resources to do so. Um,
right.
this one, dogs doing dog stuff. That's what it is. It's only trying to do that. You know, maybe there
Yeah,
could be similar games in the line that use sort of our spiritual successors, but there's no, the
right.
idea is that this whole line of games are standalone products.
Exactly, exactly. And I know that there's, um, we've been asked already, hey, what are you gonna do? When can I bring in other animals? Are there gonna be cats? Are there gonna be other stuff? And because
Sure.
you have dog people, you have cat people, you have people who love their alpacas, whatever. Like, sure.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Heckin' good alpacas.
but like,
It wouldn't
this
be
is
heckin' good alpacas. It'd be something though, but that's
you're
that's
like
pretty good.
writing it down.
I'm right now. I'm doing it right now.
But one of the things that I like about, you know, I like about it is that people are already invested. They say, I want to play my animal, or I want to do whatever. And, we're not obviously not saying no to something like that. Uh, there's always the thought that, yeah, we would love to make more stuff. I mean, I think about how when Never Going Home, when we did our first campaign for Never Going Home, and how Stephen Wu approached us and was like, by the way, really like your system. I want to do a game in it with the fall of the Roman Empire. And we're like, sure. So I mean, he wrote it, he did the art for it, and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun to do, and a lot to see his creative juices flowing. But we've definitely reached out to other people and said, we like what you're doing here. Will you do a game in our system around X, Y, and Z?
Right.
You know, um, I've run some convention games for um, uh, what we're tentatively calling Psychic Kids on the Run from Danger, and played that with people at conventions. I've played it with other local groups, and it's a game that is going to be a lot of fun, and it uses the +1 system
Yeah.
with some other fun card mechanics. But
Yeah.
um,
That's
we're
yeah.
not
I mean,
we're not opposed to trying new things. The system is flexible enough for it. So
do you want to talk more about Michael's game?
yeah, absolutely. We sure. Um,
Have you
just like
just
dangle
teased
the
it?
carrot there, and then just like, we're done.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
No, the
you're only gonna tease it. I don't know.
no. It's so um in that game, all of the characters have, you start off, you all have some kind of psychic ability. Um and throughout the game, I mean, it's a +1 system, so for skill checks and everything, you're still using your D6 and everything like that. But whenever you want to use your psychic powers, the cards represent your ability to use those. So it started, the original mechanic started from a 200-word RPG. Uh, gosh, what was that, from 2017, 2018?
Uh, I don't think it was that long ago, but uh,
It was a while ago, but I think you were a reader for it, right?
yeah, I've been a reader for the 200. They haven't done it. They didn't do it for 2 years. So I think it was 2019's.
2019.
I think it may have been 2018's. It was in 2018's competition,
Ah,
but
yeah.
I yeah, I think maybe it was in 2018 was when Michael first wrote that uh, game. But it was a perfect match to what we were doing, because what Michael Brannon wrote was this card mechanic, and it. Do you want me to
Yeah,
tell it,
yeah,
or
yeah,
you
go,
want to
yeah,
tell it?
tell all about it.
So in the original 200 word RPG, it was just the cards, and the psychic children would you had to predict you the player had to predict the next card that would come off the deck, and
Yeah,
your accuracy in your prediction. Did you get the right color? Did you get the right suit? Did you get the right number? Did you get it exactly? Are like kind of 4 levels of power that you're if you the player guessed correctly what card was coming off the deck next, your character would have a increased efficiency in their psychic power.
right.
So, once we had seen that, we were like, look, if you put some skill rolls with this is a +1 game. So like, we should ask Michael if he wants to do a manuscript. And so that will be
That's
coming
yeah. I think that's going to
soon.
be next in the queue.
That's next in the queue. So
Yeah,
look out for that.
and uh, we've chatted with some of our artist friends, and think the uh, as long as her schedule still lines up, and I know when I talked to her recently, she was still excited about it. The awesome Amy Ashbaugh is going to be doing the art for that game, which means it's going to be gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Because she's
So good.
so good. And so one of the things that I'm really excited about, I mean, I've run a lot of games at conventions, but I've never had an experience with that mechanic that didn't cause the table to erupt in cheers at least once during the game. So I'm excited about it. I've, I mean, you can play it kind of like Stranger Things if you want, but ideally the theme is like you all are all running from this facility, as opposed to just your 11-ish character. You're all that, you all fit
Right.
that mold.
Yeah, I think the game term is dream. So each of you, as a psychic child who is in this facility, this nefarious facility, you all have partial memories of what your life was before, and you're
Right.
trying to get back to that.
Yeah.
So that's part of your character creation process, is what do you remember about your life before that's going to lead you away from the nefarious organization that you've just escaped from.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun. You
Yeah.
you mentioned two words which I really wanted to
A
hit on
nefarious
too.
organization.
No, character
That's
creation.
character creation. Okay.
Yeah, because that's one thing, as we go back to, we wander back down this rabbit trail to Heckin Good Doggos. One of the things
Okay.
that I've had a lot of people ask about is like, oh, can I play this dog breed? Can I play this dog breed? Can I play my dog? Can I do this? And one of the things I want to usually emphasize is like, in Heckin Good Doggos, you can play any dog you want. You can play any breed you want. You can play a mutt. You can play whatever. However, when you play the game, or when you create your character, you say, well, I want to play this dog, and then you build your dog with your 3 attributes: your brawn, your smarts, and your guts. Throughout the character creation process, you assign points into, I want to be a boxer, or I want to be a mutt, or whatever. But I want to be a strong dog, but I'm also not going to be very bright, or maybe I'll have a little bit of bravery or something like that. But as you mix it up, it's like, yeah, you might be a boxer, but if you only have 2 brawn, you're not very strong. Maybe you're out of shape. Maybe your dog, really likes to just eat all the dog food, and now you're just big chunky boy, like whatever. Like, but you can play whatever you want. It all comes down to how you assign your points. But then I I really love the concept of the best friend.
Yeah, this
Which
has been, I don't think we've mentioned yet that the most of Heckin Good Doggos is written by John Kennedy,
yeah,
who's, not a slouch this is a name, like we're fortunate to be working with them,
Yeah.
basically is what I'm saying. Like
Yeah. And
they've
uh,
published with Star Trek Adventures and basically all of Third Eye Games
Stargate,
and stuff. And yeah, worked on the Stargate book recently. Did they work on
one and
Dune too?
uh
Or did they not work on Dune? I
I
know they
don't think
worked
they
on
worked on
Stargate.
Dune, and but one and any with Ninja Crusade for Third Eye Games.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
So
And so
so this
yeah.
the best friend is been in the game since the initial concepts of the game, and John's done a great job with all of that.
And I love the idea of your best friend is it's not what makes you you, but it's a relationship which is very important in doggos. I mean, that's your person, that's your owner, or your the person that you spend time with. And so you, as part of character creation, once you choose what kind of dog you want to be, get your stats, get your skills, that's your dog. Then you have to create your best friend. And so you have to say, who's your best friend? Where'd you meet? That kind of stuff. You flesh out that relationship, why they're important to you. And then once every dog has you have your dog and you all have your best friends, then you create your pack and you talk about your neighborhood, because like you're all the pack together, and
Right.
collectively you talk about your neighborhood. Are you in suburbia? Are you all apartment dwelling dogs in New York City? Are you all are you all farm dogs that all just run around the fields together? You get to pick that, and that helps dictate the narrative of your game, which is
Right.
at that point when you're doing that, your players, the kids, the people around your table, it's that investment, it's that emotional investment, which is a lot of fun. So
Sure.
anyway,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Anything anything else you specifically want to cover about Heckin' Good Doggos, or do you want to kind of? I guess we teased Psychic Children,
Oh yeah.
On the Run from Danger. We talked about Heckin' Good Doggos. Anything else you want to say about doggos before we kind of do some of our last little points here?
um I mean, it's
What
awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be
do
pretty.
you do we want? So like, if people are watching this video, they probably came to it from the funding page, which we will have linked the video afterwards. So if you're a backer, thank you. If you so you probably already know, if you were a backer, that we offered part of this. One of the fun things about that we did is, because you have to have a deck of cards to play the game, it can be any deck of cards, but why not make a custom deck of cards
That's right.
with all like with 52 Heckin' Good Doggos in the card deck. And there was I was like, we might get to like a dozen people that would want that option.
Yeah,
It
we'll
was
get the
like,
face
no,
cards.
no. People, yeah, we'll do the face cards because there'll be like a dozen people that want their dogs memorialized in this way. And like, no, it was like sold out day one, all the options.
Yeah.
So there'll be a deck of cards with a lot of good dogs. And maybe as of right now, I think it's not, but maybe we'll open up more of those spots and do a second deck of cards. Maybe.
Yeah. We'll have to see where we get during probably the last week of the campaign. So probably within the last 4 or 5 days, we'll see. Also, the artist has also tossed around the idea of potentially doing a willingness to do like an add-on. If you wanted to get, instead of just your dog on a deck of one of the cards, he would do a drawing, an actual physical drawing, that an original. And that's one of those things that it's like,
Yeah, I've never known Mike Muma to turn down commissions. So,
no, absolutely not. Like, hey, Mike, do you want to draw? I want to draw all the things. Give me all the art. That's
right.
and
If
and
if
you know,
if you
it's
missed
it's an
out, if
embarrassment of riches. So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
I have Mike Muma art hanging right here on my wall, and like it's just, yeah.
Oh, I sometimes do. I only got one nail over here on my wall. It's not Mike Moon art right now.
It's not it's you rotate like at a museum, right?
I do.
You
I
curate the
have to
collection.
rotate through my Nick Bradshaw and my Amy Ashbaugh and my right. I have my Fenris scroll that Sarah
Uh,
made. Yeah.
yeah.
And
So I guess as we kind of wrap up a little bit, we have mentioned multiple times that we are living in kind of this golden age of game design and art RPGs, right? Um,
yeah,
and I mean, we've been
I
gaming and
backed.
we've been in the hobby for years, decades, and I think it's yeah, it's being
I bought like 6 games out of Zine Quest or Zine month like last week. Like,
I bought 3 so far.
yeah,
I
golden
bought,
age.
yeah, well,
Golden
and
age.
yeah, and I say so far because I've deliberately tried to avoid it, but I know I'm not going to be able to
I
much
waited
longer.
through. I waited through and I was like, ooh, these all look good. And then I whittled, I think I picked about 12 and then I whittled through and I was like, okay, only these 6. So yeah.
But
I mean, they
no, I
all like a lot of them cost like, $4. How can you say no?
right, right. Um,
I mean, I only mention it because that's what's happening right now, Zine Month, and like the whole Zine Month project is something we support. So I'm giving
yep.
them the shout out. But like, yeah, go to Zine Month. If you don't know what Zine Month is, go to zinemonth.com and it's a clearinghouse for
It's
I don't know, there's like 50 different zines in there and they're all raising funds now or they're available already and they're just promoting themselves through being part of Zine Month. But yeah,
yep, and it's
zinemonth.com, go check it out.
avoided a certain amount of backlash from a certain platform.
I mean, it's just a clearinghouse for games. There, some of them link to Kickstarter, and some of them don't. Like,
That's
it's just
true.
a clearinghouse for everybody who's doing zines in February.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
But it's check it out. There's all kinds of really cool stuff. Um,
What
and
other?
not only that, but like even I mean, I did some shout outs the other day to like, when I mentioned that, like we really do live in a pretty awesome time to be not only an indie game designer, but also a consumer, anyone who's remotely interested in indie games. And someone was like, oh, like what? And I was like, oh, here, let me tell you. And, like Tristan Zimmerman's Shanty Hunters
Oh
is
my
one
gosh!
that's just
I got.
like,
I confirmed my address. I backed that one for the highest, like
yeah,
fanciest version, and I
yep.
confirmed my address like earlier today. I'm very excited about that one.
Like, yeah, there's
Uh,
so many cool ones that are out there. I mentioned
I
Alice
got.
is Missing earlier.
Yeah.
That's another one which is just such a cool concept as a silent RPG. I mean,
I
if you
finished.
oh, go ahead.
I finished. I bought Moonpunk
Yeah,
at
Moonpunk.
Gen Con last year, 2021, and I finished reading it. I sat down and read it last month,
Yep.
and it's a very solid, uh, powered by the apocalypse game about punks fighting the lunar authority on the
On the
moon,
moon.
and it is. Uh, I'm like, it's very well written. Is a very good game, and I think every time I think about it, I'm just amazed at what the wannabe games folks are doing as far as like, not only did they make a cool powered by the apocalypse game about like being a punk rock rebel on the
Punk
moon,
Moon Rock.
right? Punk moon rock. Uh, they really tie it back to like real life, where it's like the skills, the way that you think about how you want your party of players to be, and the way in which you have to owe each other things, and the way in which you try not to get noticed by the authority, all of those things have real life, like you could live your life the same way. You could
Yeah.
live without any authorities that may or may not exist on this planet.
Yeah.
you know um
Ugh.
but and I say that, and you might think it sounds preachy or something like that, but like I don't find that it was. I was just like, man, I aspire to be so grounded in the real world while I'm simultaneously writing such a fun concept for a game.
Right.
So that, yeah, golden age. It's a golden age. It's a golden age.
Well, like I was just thinking of Good Strong Hands from Nerdburger, and
It's so good.
I know that Craig actually has just launched
Oh yeah,
he's got a
he's
game
running funding.
about furry
It's
puppets,
felt feelings and friendship.
felt feelings
It's
and friendship.
yeah, it's you're going to play a puppet person and have adventures. It's a very small little, it's a game. He's doing, I don't know if he's on Zine Month, but it's on Kickstarter right now. Felt feelings and friendship.
Yeah.
um,
I'm
it's bound to be in Craig's small style, similar to Nowhereville or
die laughing.
Low Stakes. If you know, smaller than
Oh, even smaller than die laughing.
Die Laughing, yeah, like Nowhereville or Low Stakes, if you know those
Yeah.
two. It yeah.
Good.
Craig, yeah, Nerdburger Games, Craig Campbell, he knocks it out of the park every time.
I think we're seeing some really cool concepts that are coming out of designers. A lot of hybrid games, a lot of games that like really cross the border between board games and RPGs, kind of like Zhangshi did, but also on the other end of that spectrum, crossing the barrier between LARP and RPG.
Right.
So we're seeing
Like
we're seeing a
Exquisite
lot.
Crime that was funding last year.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
is it Unexquisite Crime? Is that the name of it?
An exquisite crime.
Yeah.
God, yeah, there's just
Which again, you use a paper doll to illustrate the I think it's the progress of a murder, I believe, is the concept between an exquisite crime.
yeah.
So there's this very very tactile table presence to this paper doll that you're manipulating, but also you're role-playing investigators of some sort.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
No,
I mean, we
I
could
think
just keep naming games. We could just keep naming games like Necrobiotic is going to come out, like Chew's getting worked on, like all of the stuff that, all of our peers in the industry are all making great games.
yeah. I mean, because we're members of the IGDN for transparency, Indie Game Developers Network, and so I think
Yeah, I think
all of that just
basically everyone I've mentioned is also in the IGDN.
yeah. But I mean, like, there's just so many good games out there that it's it's very easy to kind of like fall into that trap of like, oh well, I'm gonna play this because it's what all my friends are gonna play or whatever, or
Sure.
but there's none of the games, especially the ones that we've mentioned, are like inaccessible games. I mean, heck, all the Zine Quest stuff, it's like, yeah, if you can read these like 4 pages of rules, like you can play.
Some of them are 12 pages long.
No, I'm not saying like the entire zine. I'm just saying like the main rules. Like
yeah,
you can play. Here's 4 pages, and like there you go. Now here's like
what's the
20 other pages of stuff.
I read there's a cowboy werewolf game that is really only 4 pages. It's called High Moon. It is.
Oh yes.
It is. It's the one of the best named RPGs I know of. It's a you're a werewolf cowboy. I think it's one of those like I think it's like Honey Heist, right? Where it's like you have a bear stat and a thief stat, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So
So
it, anyway, High Moon is like that. Like you have cowboy and werewolf are your two stats, and like sometimes you got to roll cowboy and sometimes you got to roll werewolf. That's it. Like you're a cowboy werewolf, and yeah.
yeah, there's just so many fun things out there. Um, you know, I'm always amazed. I mean, Dialect, which came out a few years ago, is one of the ones that always kind of stands out to me as just
Have you
another
played that
cool
one?
concept. What was that?
Have you played Dialect?
I haven't played it yet. I
Okay.
picked it up
Well,
at
we should
Gen
play it
Con.
sometime.
I picked it up at Gen Con this year, and I've been working my way through it. But I'm like, it's just such a cool concept of, like it, anything that gets you away from like the standard polyhedral dice. No, don't get me wrong. I'm a total dice goblin. Like I love dice, but I think that's one of the things that really that I really like about our +1 system is the fact that it's like, yeah, it's just standard 6-sided dice and standard cards, but like do something fun with them. Like,
Right.
yeah, so many fun things. Yeah. Hey, so um I mentioned earlier that like conventions are back. Um and I know that we as Wet Ink
All,
are going to
all the big
be
ones.
we're going to be going to the big ones. We're going to Origins. Like we went to Origins last year as part of the IGDN. But Wet Ink,
Which did we say the Indie Game Developer Network? Did we say we just say
we
IGDN or
I did briefly, but I also speak very fast sometimes.
just making sure it gets out there? It's the Indie Game Developer Network. Yeah.
But like I was really excited because Origins was my first gaming convention, and I think at the end of last year, at the end of the convention last year, we were given an opportunity to go on and sign up and prepay for Origins. So we did, and that was great because we managed to lock in our booth, and we have some demo space as well. And hopefully we're going to be near our friends at Strange Machine Games as well. Jeff Mekulinski, and they do like the Robotech RPG and some other things.
Valiant Wars.
Yeah.
Valiant Wars is a fun little
Oh,
tabletop combat game.
what's the one
I
that
think it's
they
Valiant Wars.
did recently? It's the RPG. It's got a big 4-leaf clover on the front of it.
Charm.
Charm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, they have all kinds of stuff, and so we're going to hopefully be near them as well. But it's going to be great going back to Columbus. We had a really good time at Origins, even though we heard it was a little different than Origins before
Well, it was
that.
smaller for sure. Like it was
Yeah.
smaller than previous years, which is to be understood for
Yeah.
2021.
But we
Given that there
were
was no con at all in 2020.
right. But the extent of my knowledge was uh, Origins from 2004. Like I had no concept of like, oh yeah.
Right. Well, and I'd never been, so last year's the only time I've been. So it's yeah, we're looking forward to having a strong Wet Ink Games presence at Origins. And yeah, making it kind of like it's not exactly the hometown convention for us, but trying to bring some of that like hometown convention feel to Columbus, where we make a big show and we're there and we've got people that have worked on our games there, and you can get your books signed if you want, and you can play our games and you can see our games demoed, and we'll have all of our products there. Like making a really big presence is something that we're working to make an impact this year at Origins. In that
we're
way.
working with
Lurking
Lurking
Fears. Is that what
Fears.
you're?
Yeah, Lurking Fears and Matthew McLeod. They have they run all kinds of different horror games there, and they're going to help us with our convention presence. We're also going to have some of our own volunteer GMs as well, and it's going to be a good convention knock on wood. I mean, it's a good convention anyway. It's a lot of fun. Columbus is a fun little town. But then we're going to be going to Gen Con. We're going to have our own booth at Gen Con this year, which normally we've shared space with the Indie Game Developers Network in the past. We
Well,
have our own table.
we're sharing with someone this year too, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, but we
Yeah.
are
It'll be a separate booth. Like, we don't know our
yeah.
number yet, do we?
We don't know our number yet. They haven't done any of the design or any of that layout work, but
Yeah, I guess they have to
we're
work
going to
on
be
that.
sharing with Metal Weave Games. Andreas Walters. They do the Baby Bestiary. They did Dragon Stew.
I think the Awakened Animals is one of their newest.
In
I
the
think
Hyperlight
that was out
Drifter.
last year.
Yeah,
They do also have Hyperlight Drifter.
yeah, Hyperlight Drifter, which was an indie video game that was really cool, and they are doing the an RPG for Hyperlight Drifter. So we're going to be sharing some space with Andreas and Metal Weave up there, and after that we will hopefully, if it's a good convention, again, we're going to have games, a lot of games up there as well, at least a dozen games at Gen Con. So if you're looking for a place to come play some of our
Nice.
stuff, it'll be there. But hopefully in
We
years
should
to
make
come,
sure
we'll have
some
our own.
Heckin' Good Doggos gets played.
Heckin' Good Doggos will definitely get played. I already have people who are just saying like, I want to run it. Our friend
Excellent.
Brandon Doggenbaugh said, like, I'm going to Gen Con.
Oh,
I would love to run Heckin' Good Doggos. And I was like, well, you can. You will be able to. And
you will
then
be able to.
we had
Excellent.
such a great time at PAX, PAX Unplugged. We shared a booth with our friends from Game and a Curry. So Banana Chan was up there with us. And we have some buddies from that neck of the woods who also came and helped out. But we're going to have our own booth up there this year, and it's going to be
That's the
a lot of
plan.
fun. That's the plan.
Right. No,
We're
no
gonna,
money down yet on that, but like I expect it to, it's a little later in the year, so it's
yeah, it's only 9 months away,
it's not
man.
100% confirmed right now because we haven't put our money down yet,
Oh yeah,
but they haven't asked for the money yet. So like
but no, gosh,
when that time comes, we will be making that application.
it was such a good convention. I
I
I had it was
I
such a great
yeah,
time there.
I think it was it may have been my favorite con last year of the three that we went to, but
Yeah.
it was great. It was a great time, and we look forward to having a
Yeah.
great time in this year.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I'm most excited about from the
Mm.
convention season is being able to, um, kind of our network of people who want to come and help us and be involved with Wet Ink stuff. Being able to see some of the same fans now coming year after year and saying hi and saying like just coming up and being like, "What's new?" Because I bought stuff from you last year. I want everything
Yeah.
that's new. I'm like, great. But ultimately, like some of the people that are the creators that help us make these games coming and saying like, I want to help out. Like at Origins, Charles Ferguson Avery did all the art for Never Going Home and Into the Weird and Wild. He's going to be there. He's going to be at the booth. He's going to be helping out. And Alex Cogan, who is the other part of Feral Indie Studios, Alex Cogan, I mispronounced her name, but Alex is awesome. Her art is fantastic, and here's the thing, like she has done some stuff for us in the past, and just the stuff, I mean, I told her this at PAX, the stuff that she's been cranking out over the past year has just been
Oh yeah.
absolutely stellar. And
All her D&D portraits and
gosh, just
all those mounts. What's the name? That's one of the ones that I got out of the zine month was
yeah,
hers, because it's like it's all trail stuff, like mounts and like gear for going over mountains and like saddlebags, and I mean, yeah,
yeah, just
I think it's
so much awesome stuff.
I forget what it's called. I'm sorry, Alex. I backed it this time, but I forget what it's called.
Oh man, see now I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to stop until I see it. Um, we will correct this before we even get
Oh,
off this. But yeah, like so she helped out at PAX Unplugged as well, and I'm really excited that she's also going to come back to Origins and help us out there. A Trail with No Name is
a
hers.
trail with no name.
Trail with
That's
No
it.
Name, and Charlie's was As the Gods Demand. That's another one which was really good. So
I think there's more on here since the last time I looked.
yeah, so yeah, I'm super excited. We're gonna have a great crew of people, and I'm really excited to see people come and pick up copies of some of our games, and hopefully as we get closer to some of these conventions, we have some cool things to announce, some partnerships and stuff with other creators, other designers, um,
Absolutely. We've got a
which
lot of
we
stuff that we've been
have
planning over the
some cool
last couple
stuff.
of years. We mentioned the thing with Michael that's been going on for a while. We've got other stuff that's been going on for less long, which will be done by the end of the year. It's like it stuff is moving through production. So
Well, and I love just being able to, like, just at PAX, we saw guys selling pins, and they were amazing pins. And I was like,
yeah,
let's talk about this. And so, we got to talk with another creator about his process, his design, manufacturing, all that stuff. We've been able to talk with some of the amazingly talented people at 1985 games. Um, we like some of the stuff that they've been cranking out, and now they're branching into miniatures and stuff as opposed to just maps and stuff like that. And
yeah,
and it really helps when some of these people that you are having conversations with are just really cool people. Like, can I pick your brain about this? And you don't ever have someone just like, no, go away. Like,
yeah.
yeah, it's it's just a good atmosphere. I'm excited about just getting back into it.
Yeah. So uh Origins is first. That's in June.
Yep.
Tickets are on sale now. So if you're seeing this and you're not coming, consider coming
Oh
to
yeah,
Origins.
come to Origins. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, Origins, and then Gen Con, PAX Unplugged in
And Gen
December.
Con.
Gen Con's in August.
We
Uh,
we're probably going to be at in New Hampshire,
uh,
right?
yep. Looks like we're also gonna go to Granite. What is it? Granite Con,
Granite State Comic Con,
Granite State Comic Con in Manchester, New Hampshire. And that's
Manchester, New
in
Hampshire,
I think the
mid-September,
middle of September. Yep.
middle of
It looks
September.
like it's gonna be a lot of fun there too.
Yep. So we'll be
So,
around.
yeah. Well, I we could sit here and talk for hours, but at the end of our campaign for Heckin Good Doggos, as we kind of circle back around, that campaign ends on, excuse me, I have
It's no excuse.
there's no excuse for you. That ends at I believe 10 o'clock. No, yeah, 10 o'clock on Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, the 19th of February. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a Q&A session. So anyone who wants to hang out can come on, join us live on our YouTube channel, ask us any questions that you all have about Heckin Good Doggos, ask us any questions you have about wet ink or our process or blah, 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 blah. And it's going to be us. It's going to be some of our writers, our artist, Mike Muma, is going to be on here, and we're just going to hang out, and we're going to have our doggos or our pets with us as well, and might have some adult beverages and just chat. So if you want to join us, feel free. We'll probably be starting around 9 o'clock and go until probably about 10:30, but we get to do our countdown
Counting down that
to
Kickstarter.
the end of the Kickstarter project. So hopefully you all can join us. All right, Matt, do you have any final words?
No, it's good to hang out with you.
Yeah, it's good to hang out with you too, man. Hopefully we'll be able to
Driving
do it
from here to
face to face.
Philadelphia. Driving from here to Philadelphia isn't enough.
It's not enough, right? No, yeah, we live in the world of the COVID monster right now, so
Man.
that's how it goes. All right, man.
Sure.
So well, thank you everyone, and we hope to see you again soon. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.